ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We have been introducing the topic objectivity. We have not yet gotten into the book. Objectivity, witnessing, Sakshi, all are synonymously used. They are not, all are synonymously used. They are not distinct and different from one another. Sakshi, objectivity, witnessing, all means the same. Opposite of objectivity is involvement. The opposite of objectivity is involvement. Involvement in what? When we say involvement in what? The involvement because of the heavy burden of desires and expectations. Involvement is always because of the burden, and the burden is not an ordinary burden. It's a very heavy burden. The very heavy burden of desires and expectations makes the mind to get involved. And we have seen two types of involvement. The two types of involvement is raga and dvesha. Raga is one kind of involvement. Dvesha is another kind of involvement. And both the types of involvement of raga and dvesha is because of the heavy burden of the desires, all our desires, expectations, and all step by step there is a fall. When life follows our plan, we are happy. When life has its own plan, we are unhappy, isn't it? That's all it is. So, what is objectivity? Objectivity is this: there are two plans. One is the plan that you make, another is the plan that life makes on its own without considering you at all. You are so irrelevant in that plan. Again, I repeat, there are two types of plans. One is the plan that we all make. The basis of our plan is what? The basis of our plan is desires and expectations. Carefully follow. The nature plan, the way in which life makes its plans is no desire, no expectations, but harmony. Human plans, individual plans are always about desires and expectations. So, your life is always shaped up by these two factors. From the one side, you come with your desires and expectations and you make your plans and you think it has to work in that way. And when it goes your way, there is happiness. When it doesn't go your way, there is misery. On the one hand, they say there is kingdom of God. On the other hand, we only see hell around us. So it is like two different, it's like almost like living in the same house, we are living in two different houses. Living in the same world, we are living in two different, living in the same world, we are living in two different worlds. So one world is the objectivity, another world is involvement. So here we are looking at what? Now we are looking at a objectivity. Looking at life from the standpoint of looking at life from the standpoint of hopes and desires and expectations is lack of objectivity. What is objectivity? Looking at life from the standpoint which we technically call as sannyasa. Looking at life from the standpoint, technically what we call as sannyasa is what is called as objectivity. So now we understand sakshi, sannyasa, objectivity, witnessing are all synonymous. We should be objective in life, sir. Replace it with another word, you will know whether you want to be objective or not. Now, what is the other word that you should replace with? We all should be objective in life. No. Replace it with another word. What is the other word that you have to replace it with? We all should be sannyasis, no, sir? No. That is not objectivity. You are changing the meaning only, sir. That is not objectivity. Not only you change the meaning, you change the syllabus also most of the times. We are used to one meaning and one syllabus. You come and change the meaning and you come and change the syllabus also. Just for namesake, you keep the book in front, that's all, isn't it? And for namesake, you keep the book in front and you talk whatever. So, sannyasa, objectivity, witnessing, sakshi, all are synonymous. So, what is objectivity in life means? Objectivity in life is the ability to stand apart. Who will have the ability to stand apart? Sannyasa is the ability to stand apart. Sannyasa is the ability to, to stand apart. And in order to stand apart and look at things around you, what is the prerequisite? Standing apart means you should have an understanding. I have nothing to do with what's happening. You can stand apart and witness only when you understand that you have nothing to do with what is happening. But sir, we have everything to do with the duties, obligations, itya naimitika karma and all. You give such a big discourse on that. And now you say you have nothing to do means what? Performance of nitya naimitika karma alone is the practice of objectivity. The very practice of objectivity is performance of nitya naimitika karma alone. Therefore, if you take it different, if you understand them differently, there will be a confusion. If you understand how everything is interconnected, what is the practice of objectivity? The practice of objectivity is stand apart. See it from a third person view. Now, who's the third person? Sannyasi is the third person. Sannyasi means one who says, I will do what I ought to do, and then I have nothing to do whatever happens. What is objectivity now? Sannyasi. And sannyasi means what? I will do what I will do what I ought to do, and I have nothing after that, which is what he calls as no prefixes, no suffixes. Where there is no prefix and no suffix, then you are practicing objectivity. Objectivity is a knowledge, an understanding. Objectivity is an understanding. What is that understanding? I am not the I am not what I think I am. I am different from what I think I am. This distinction is objectivity. If you don't have this distinction, you become your actions. You are your actions. You are your desires. There is no separation between you and your actions. There is no separation between you and your desires. When there is no segregation, separation between you and your desires, what objectivity can you practice? No objectivity can be practiced. Therefore, what is the practice of objectivity? The practice of objectivity is this: me and my desires have no connection. When you say me and my desires have no connection, when you have no connection with the desires, obviously you will have no connection to the consequences of the desires also. This is called practicing objectivity. So what is now, as a result of this practicing objectivity, what will happen? The world outside will be as it is. The people around you will be as they are. Situations around you will be as it is. Inside of you, there is a change. So objectivity is an inner change. The people around you will not change because you are becoming objective. The people around you will not change. The situations around you will not change. The people around you will be the same. The environment around you will be the same. The situations around you will be the same. It means the world will be the same with its own plans. The world will continue to function with its own plans. What is objectivity? Objectivity is the ability to detach oneself. Detaching oneself from what? When you detach yourself from your desires, then you will be able to practice objectivity. When you are involved in your desires, again, when you are involved in your desires, you will not be able to practice objectivity. Again, I repeat, a person who is involved with the desires, objectivity cannot be practiced. Okay, sir, I will just, I will not drop my desires, but tell me how not to be affected. I will not drop my desires. I will not drop anything of mine. But tell me how not to be affected. So if I'm objective to my desires, will I be peaceful? So, and everybody believes you can be objective to your desires. Vedanta says, yes, you can be objective to your desires. What is meant by objectivity to the desires? What is meant by objectivity to the desires? Not my desires anymore. Again, I repeat. When you say, as long as you call it as my desire, the problem will be the same. Supposing if we say it's not my desire, then whose desire it is? Then what affectation will be there? What frustration will be there? You follow? Therefore, what is objectivity? Objectivity is practicing in relation to the action and in relation to the consequences of the action. In relation to the action, the desires. In relation to the consequences of the action, the result. So objectivity in relation to action, objectivity in relation to consequences of the action, objectivity in relation to the environment and people around you. So objectivity in three distinct facets. Objectivity in relation to the consequences of your action, objectivity in relation to the desires, objectivity in relation to the external, the external people, the environment, situations, etc. In these three, where do we start? What do we start with? These are all not sequential practices. These are all simultaneous practices. You can't sequentially say, first I'll get detached from the external world fully. Then, what is it? Bucket list. Huh? isn't it? So the first bucket list is ticked. What? Now I'm fully objective in relation to people and environment around. Tick mark. Then I will be fully objective in relation to the consequences of the action. Tick mark. Finally, I will come to desire, sir. No. It has to be practiced in relation to your own capacity at your level of strength, at your level of capacity. You must learn to practice this objectivity. So to summarize, what is this objectivity? Two burdens: the burdens of desire in relation to your action and consequences of the action, expectation in relation to the world. These are the two burdens of human mind. What are the two burdens of human mind? Desire in relation to the action and the consequences of action is one burden. The another burden is expectations in relation to the environment and the situation around. Objectivity means you understand you have no say on what's happening. You have no say on what's happening around. You have no say on that. As long as you say my desires, as long as you go and attach yourself to the desire becomes a burden, and that burden is what we call as involvement, and then objectivity cannot be practiced. So objectivity means what? That which you call as yours, you try and say not yours. That which you say as mine, try and say not mine. This objectivity in life is required very much. In order to practice this objectivity, that's where we studied already a lot about Shraddha, etc. In order to practice this objectivity, the scripture tells you that it's not yours. You must have Shraddha in what is told in the scriptures, and then you will be able to follow this objectivity. Now, the topic, objectivity in life. Please read. Who's reading? Oh, yeah, read.
Objectivity in life. There is a dire need for humanity to break through its herd instinct and start thinking originally, to put in your effort to overcome the environmental influence of the past and learn to reflect, contemplate afresh. Get over your passive, impulsive behavior. Apply your intellect to overpower your emotional attachment, involvement in the affairs of the world, both material and spiritual. At every turn of life, let reason and judgment guide all your activities. Do not sell your personality to elders, preachers, or authorities. You do not have to accept tradition because it is handed down through generations, nor follow past practices, or for that matter, anything just because it is spoken of or written about by several people over and over again. Instead, carefully examine and analyze the truths of life, and whatever admits your logic and reason, accept it and live by it. That spells objectivity in life. When you begin to live objectively, your mind remains peaceful and happy in and through the fluctuations of the external world. Whatever happens in the outer world does not disturb your inner composure. Theodore Tilton drives home this idea succinctly in his poem, Even This Shall Pass Away. The poem portrays the king of Persia living with perfect mental composure. In all walks of life, objective and detached, he remains equanimous through the best and the worst of experiences. He understands that the world is ever in a flux of change. It goes through profit and loss, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, an endless chain of opposites. None of them stays indefinitely. Each passes away, yielding to the opposite. The king in the poem displays an amazing power of witnessing these pairs of opposites without getting mentally involved in them. He refuses to identify with either the pleasant or the unpleasant. With a perfect sense of detachment, he observes objectively each of them come and go. He would have nothing to do with them, not jump with joy when good fortune visits him, nor sink with sorrow when misfortune takes its turn. He remains unperturbed in the ever changing world with his intellectual stance, even this shall pass away. The pairs of opposites constituting the world are known as dvandvas. The human intellect can rise above the influence of the dvandvas. The more you develop and apply your intellect, the less would be their impact be upon you, and the more peaceful you become. The world is thus undulated with ups and downs. When your intellect is not developed enough, you ride on its surface, and your mind is lacerated by undulations. You suffer from their knocks and shocks. All creatures except humans live on the surface of the world. They lack the intellectual ability to rise above it. Consequently, they are affected by its ruggedness. So do the humans who do not use the intellect. They merely enjoy, cherish the brighter side of the world, and suffer, even perish in its darker side. They are victimized by environment and circumstance, trial and tribulations of the outer world. They have not developed their intellect sufficiently to rise above the mundane challenges and remain unaffected by them. However, a human being alone is designed to free himself from the influence of the changes occurring in the world. Stand firm like a lighthouse as the waves of challenges kiss its feet and recede. He can develop a powerful intellect to rise well above the onslaughts of the rigorous world, while others lacking intellectual power and strength are like neglected boats tossed about by the waves. Animals deprived of an intellect are completely victimized by the rigors of the world. Humans need not suffer thus since they possess an intellect. You must make sure you must make good use of it and liberate yourself. With the development of the intellect, you will be gradually relieved from the mundane pressures. However, depending upon the effort put in by individuals, their intellects rise to different levels, akin to a flight of birds. The chicken flies, the pigeon flies, and so does the eagle. But their flights are not the same. The chicken can hardly lift itself off the ground. The pigeon can rise up to a height, while the eagle soars high in the sky. Likewise, a poor intellect can hardly help a person detach and relieve himself from worldly entanglements. A more developed intellect lifts him off the gross entanglement, but he still finds it difficult to withstand the impact of the ever changing world. Whereas a highly developed intellect soars far above the mundane variations and alterations, keeping him in perfect peace and tranquility. When your intellect is not fortified, you are at the mercy of your mind. Hence, you need to ascertain the state of your intellect and strengthen it. A simple observation of your person will evaluate your present condition. Just consider you have lost your pen. You believe you have left it in your friend's house. Would you worry about it and call your friend? Or your pen is with you, but your watch is missing. What is the loss of a watch to you? Let's say pen and watch are with you, but you do not find your car in the parking lot. How would you take the loss of your car? If the car also is intact and you drive back home to find your fully paid house gutted, burned to ashes, how is that? Say your house also is perfect, But on reaching there, you hear your family has met with a fatal accident. How would you take that? Now examine the above experiences with reference to your person. That would help indicate the state of your intellect. If the slightest loss upsets you, it shows your intellect is in a poor condition. As you're able to withstand greater losses, it proves that your intellect has developed strength and objectivity. Imagine the worst tragedy does not make the slightest difference in you. You remain unperturbed, calm, and composed, and you go about normally pursuing your actions and obligations in the world. You can achieve that state when your intellect soars high and maintains perfect objectivity in life. You then command enduring peace and happiness.
So, from all this, we understand objectivity equals sannyasa. Because he is the one who is, from all these explanations, it is it is clear that what is known as objectivity is nothing but sannyasa. Obviously, not the awkward rope sannyasi. Obviously, not the awkward rope person, because awkward rope doesn't make a person a sannyasi. There are two beautiful Sanskrit words. One is called grihastha and another is called sannyasi. Forget sannyasi now. We'll talk about grihastha. Grihastha means what? Householder. That's a literal translation you are giving. Householder. Okay. Householder. Householder means what? Householder means what? One who's holding a house. We think grihastha means married person. No. Grihastha, sir. Grihastha doesn't mean married person. From where we, for all languages, we keep giving our own meanings and we think we know. Yeah. Isn't it? We should know actually what those mean, what those words means. Grihastha doesn't mean a married person. You can be an unmarried grihastha also. Supposing a person not to a person choose not to marry straight away, does that become a sannyasi or what? So it has got nothing to do with marriage or not marriage. A person who owns a house is a grihastha. Now, owning a house, holding a house means what? Owning a house, holding a house means what? Your peace is there, your happiness is there, your comfort is there. Your peace, your happiness, your comfort, your strength, all that is there. So wherever you find your peace and happiness and comfort and strength becomes your house. If you can find the peace, the happiness, the comfort in the entire creation, if you can find the peace and comfort and happiness and uh, security with the entire creation, then you have developed in objectivity. You have already developed objectivity. Now we are at a point of developing objectivity. It means, first thing we have to understand, what is it that takes the objectivity away? Whatever you hold on to is that which takes your objectivity away. What is it that you are holding on to? The example that is given is from the pen to the loss of the family. If you are holding the pen, then you are a householder at the pen level. You are a grihastha at the pen level. You are a grihastha at the watch level. You are a grihastha at the car level. You are a grihastha at the house level, at the family. But somewhere down the line, there is an there is an involvement attachment. Fine. The very involvement attachment is because of what? The very involvement attachment is because of the peace and happiness and security is going to come from there. The peace, the security, the happiness is going to come from there. Therefore, you will be involved in that. That's why technically the sannyasi should not have a house. House we should not have, but ashram we should have, no, sir. Ashram is allowed, no, for a sannyasi. House is only is not allowed. Ashram is allowed. Change of costume and change of the house, that's all. Instead of calling it as, yeah. Most of the time you will call your house in the name of your children, isn't it? Children or somebody, isn't your name or your children's name, the house address, the house name will be there. Supposing if you say, okay, I call it as an ashram, does it become objectivity? What is objectivity? Objectivity is in relation to the dependency on the house. Objectivity is always in relation to the dependency on the house. Now, what is this king of Persia does? Even this shall pass away. He has a plan and he acts according to the plan, but he is so much a devotee, so much a bhakta that he can surrender to the life's plan. That is called objectivity. Are you able to follow till now? This is what is called objectivity. Objectivity is the development of intellect. The development of intellect is going inward. The development of intellect is determined by going inward. And the essential part of the Vedic Vedantic teaching is to teach you how to go inside, because we all know very well how to go out. For many lives, we have been going out and out and out. We are very familiar with the outer journey. We are very familiar with the external journey, and we can go to the Mars, to the sun, maybe to the next universe also we can go. No big deal, because we are all very familiar in going. We are all very familiar in going outward. The outer journey is almost like a habit. This habitual outer journey is called samsara. What is samsara means? The habitual outer journey. How much ever you hear that it is internal, mind keeps going outward and outward and outward only. Why it is this outward? Because of a long habit used to going out. Now, what is objectivity supposed to teach you? Objectivity is supposed to teach you this. What is it supposed to teach you? Wealth, world, body, action, senses, marriage, family, career, intelligence, education, the various religious practices, as in rituals, temples, pilgrimages. All these are designed to naturally take you out. We know how to go out using these avenues. List, long list. Just I made a comprehensive list. If you not a comprehensive list, a sample list. Comprehensive list, full list, Vijay Rangan. Yeah, this is not a comprehensive list. This is a sample broad list. We are so habituated to going out by these various avenues. Not everybody will go through all this, but everybody has some avenue to keep going in this outward journey. What is that outward journey? Wealth, the world, as in environment, circumstances, people, the wealth, the world, body, physical body, no physical body in this context, action, senses, marriage, family, career, intelligence, education, aparavidya. Obviously, here education means aparavidya, religious practices. So the mind knows how to make use of anything to continue its habit of going outward. The mind knows how to use anything and everything for the practices of going outward. The outward going mind will be an involved mind, and that involved mind will be in fear, worry, anxiety, etc. Blah blah blah. We're not discussing that. The consequences of going out is worry, fear, anxiety. That is very, very that's very clear. We have studied that any number of times. So, what is objectivity means? Objectivity is changing this practice. What is the practice? The practice of going outward to turning inward. In order to turn inward, you have to become objective to the outward. That's why it's very important. You cannot running towards the outward and then say, I will be objective to the running outward and simultaneously go inward also. You cannot go inward and outward at the same time. You will only become insane and if world can make you insane, religion can make you insane much faster. World can make you insane. Religion can make you insane much faster, because you will think you can move in opposite directions at the same time. Ramatirtha says very clearly, you can't serve two masters at the same time. You can't serve Satan and Christ at the same time. Sir, objectively, I will be with Satan. Yeah, objectively, I am with Satan, sir. But then my mind is fully with God only. My mind is fully with God. My personality is fully for Vedanta, growth, Adalanta, sir. But objectively, I am with Satan. Why? Because what to do now? And you also say we have to do our obligations. No, therefore, I am there not because I need them, sir. I am there only for my obligations. Yeah. What to do, Narayana, only you can say. What else you can say there? You can only say God. Narayana means what? Narayana, or anything he used to, I picked it up from him. Anything you say Narayana, Narayana. Narayana means what? God alone knows what's happening. God alone can. He alone can. He alone can save you. What else to do now? So what is objectivity now? Objectivity is the ability to be objective to the minds running towards the outward. In objectivity, a distance is created. In that distance, you see everything clearly. Again, objectivity creates a distance, and that distance is required to see things clearly. But the mind will be very agitated by distance. Either the mind will want to go and hug and get attached, or it want to drop and run away. But it will never want to maintain the distance so it can see things rightly. But then mind will not do that. Mind can know to move from one involvement to another involvement, from one attachment to another attachment it can move, but it cannot maintain a but it will not be able to maintain a distance. So what is the practice of objectivity? The practice of objectivity is in maintaining a distance. Why the distance is necessary? Distance is necessary because in the distance you will get a clarity. Clarity of what? Clarity of what? The reality. The clarity of the reality. And when you look at the reality, it will be frightening. Don't worry, maintain the distance. Reality is always frightening in the beginning. Over a period of time, you will mature. So, objectivity means maintaining a distance. So, first thing, objectivity means maintaining a distance. Maintaining a distance means what? The ability to see things. The ability to see things clearly. When you see things clearly, what is seeing things clearly means? What is seeing things clearly means? It's agamapayinaha anityaha. That's what objectivity is. Even this shall pass away. It's agamapayinaha anityaha. Matrar sprshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukhadukkadaha agamapayino nityaha tam titikshasva bharata. It is agamapayinaha and anityaha. This vision that everything in life is agamapayinaha anityaha is objectivity. This vision, this clarity, this maturity, this understanding that everything is agamapayinaha and anityaha is called objectivity. Theodore Tilton in the poem calls it as even this shall pass away. You follow? Very, very, very important is this understanding of what is known as objectivity. In objectivity, what you understand? You maintain a distance. We said objectivity means you maintain a distance. When you maintain a distance, certain things becomes clear. What is the certain things that can become clear? The first thing is it is agamapayinaha anityaha. That becomes clear. When you understand it is agamapayinaha anityaha, that which is subject to union will be separated is a fact. That which unites together will be separated is a fact, is a law. The moment you call it as a law, a fact, you can never complain over a fact. You can never attempt to change the fact. This is objectivity. புரியுதா விஜய்? This is called objectivity. Now, what is objectivity? It is agamapayinaha anityaha. What is this agamapayinaha anityaha means? What he calls as dvandvas. What is this agamapayinaha anityaha in relation to the dvandvas? Number one, the nature is to be born, changing, dying. Born, changing, dying. Born, changing, dying. Coming together, separating. Coming together, separating. When you maintain a distance, this you see it clearly. The king of Persia, because he maintained the distance, he is able to see it clearly. What is it that he is able to see clearly? Two facets of life. What is the first facet of life? Born, changing, dying. Born, changing, dying. In that born, changing, dying, everything comes together and gets separated. Everything comes together, gets separated. So there are two inseparable laws. There are two inseparable facts. The two inseparable laws, the two inseparable facts are: number one, born, changing, dying, coming together and separating. When you realize when you realize this as a fact in relation to everything around you, there is this objectivity. What is lack of objectivity means? That which is born should not change or die. Dying, as far as other than my 3-4, whoever is called as my 3-4, all other death is acceptable except the death of my 3-4, isn't it? My 3-4 should not die. Everybody else can change, but that 2-3 people that I'm associated with should not change. Isn't it? This is where this is what is called as lack of objectivity. Now, what is this lack of objectivity? Born, changing, dying is one law. Coming together and separating is another law. Accepting the external facts and accommodating, adjusting rightly is called objectivity. Again, accepting the external facts and changing your inner attitude towards the fact is called objectivity, and this objectivity is the mantra for successful living, because the external cannot be changed. Lack of objectivity means worrying about the first two law, you want to change the other. That is lack of objectivity. Objectivity means this is how it will be, and I should change my attitude towards it. I should change my expectations towards it. That's the right word to use. I should change my expectations towards the law is called objectivity. What is changing your expectation towards the law means? Law means this is how it will be. Law means this is how it will be. What is it? This is how it will be. The external will remain the same. Your inner understanding of it has to be perfect. Your inner understanding has to be correct. It means objectivity is nothing but the change of the inner, the change of the inner being. Everything is impermanent. Is it good news or bad news? Everything is impermanent. Is it a good news or a bad news? Impermanence is a bad news when you are met with success. Impermanence is a good news when you are meeting with failure. But nevertheless, whether it is a good news or a bad news, impermanence is the fact. So what is objectivity? Objectivity is an acceptance of this fact. This philosophy is very pessimistic, sir. It means you are in a very happy frame of mind. Vedanta will look very pessimistic because things are going in your way temporarily. Therefore, this philosophy will look very pessimistic. Sir, this philosophy is the absolute truths of life, sir. Everybody should learn this. And in school only we should teach this, sir. If somebody comes and tells me, I know that person is going through very miserable phase in life. It's so it's so funny to look at the reactions of the impermanency in relation to the nature of raga, the nature of dvandvas. Are you okay till now? Now I'm moving to dvandvas. Now I'm moving to the discussion of dvandvas. The the nature of dvandvas is what? The nature of dvandvas, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, is always relation to the situation. Per se, you cannot say it is pleasant or unpleasant. Sita and Ushna is the example that he gives. So we'll take that example only. Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkadaha. So the example that is given is Sita and Ushna. Ushna means heat. Heat. Sita means cold. Heat and cold. Heat and cold. In winter time, Sitam is very pleasant or unpleasant. In winter time, Ushnam is pleasant or unpleasant. In winter time, Ushnam is pleasant. In Ushnam time, in Ushnam time, so therefore, Sita Ushna, Sukha, this Sita and Ushna, Sita Ushna, Sukha Dukkadaha. This Sita Ushna, Sukha Dukkadaha means that which is welcome at one point in time is unwelcome at another point in time is the third law. இப்போ என்ன சொன்னோம்? 3 லா சொல்லியிருக்கிறோம். என்னெல்லாம் சொன்ன 3 லா? Is anybody following? I forgot. 3 laws I said. Yeah. First law is type. I can't hear. First law. சொல்லுப்பா, அதுக்கு தான் ஒன்று வச்சிருக்கிறேன் கிளாஸ்ல விஜய். The first law is whatever be it. The second law, separation and union and separation. The second law. The third law, that which is welcoming at one stage it becomes unwelcoming at another stage. You put all these three together now. Now you put like law 1, law 2, law 3. Law 1, born, changing, dying. The 5 metaphorical changes of life: birth, growth, disease, decay, death. The first law, born, change, death. Second law, what is the second law? Union and separation is the second law. The third law, that which is pleasant at one point in, that which is comfortable and pleasant will be uncomfortable and unpleasant. Therefore, per se it is neither pleasant or unpleasant. Per se it is neither comfortable or uncomfortable. That's why he says Sita Ushna Sukha. That Sita and Ushna gives Sukham at one point in time, gives Dukkham at another point in time. This heat and cold, Arjuna, will give you Sukham at one point in time. The heat and cold will give you Dukkham at another point in time. Wealth will give you Sukham at one point in time. Wealth will give you Dukkham at another point in time. When do you know wealth is giving you Dukkham? When do you know wealth gives you dukkam? When people around you are saying, why haven't you left? Why are you still hanging around? போய் சேர்ந்திருக்க வேணாமா இந்நேரம் இல்லையா? Should have gone by now. No. Why are you still hanging? Then you know it is the that which is uncomfortable at one point in time is uncomfortable at another point in time. Bharya bibyati tasmin kaye Bhajagovindam. So everything in life is governed by these three laws. So who is this king of Persia? Theodore Tilton talks about. He is able to say, even this shall pass away, even this shall pass away, even this shall pass away. This agama payanaha anityatvam can relate to two states. Ordinary sorrow, depression. One is an ordinary sorrow, another is depression. And the first level of objectivity, at any point in time, don't get into depression. Now what is depression means? We have said it any number of times. Depression means you stop doing your duties. Depression means you stop doing your duty. It means you are depressed. Sorrow means what? Crying, you will continue your duty. The third stage is what? What is the third point? There is no depression, there is no crying, but an understanding. That's a very high state. That's a very good state. No crying, no depression, no crying. Not only no depression, no crying, but joyfully doing. This joyful doing is what we see a person like Krishna doing. A person like a person like Lord Krishna's action belongs to this third category. Objectivity in life says all human beings can do those type of actions. We need to rise ourselves to that level. That's what it says. All human beings can perform actions like how Lord Krishna actions are. So what is his actions? That's why his actions are technically called nishkama karma, while our actions are called kamya karma. Our actions are called by driven by desires. His actions are called not driven by desire. What is meant by not driven by desire? Duty drives it. Nitya naimittika karma drives it, then it's called nishkama karma. When nitya naimittika karma is the driving part of your action, then you are performing nishkama karma. In order to do all this, you need some understanding, some clarity. What is the clarity? The three laws. The first law, birth, change, death. Birth, change, death. You will not worry about death at all. Why? In Yaksha Prashna, Yudhishthira asked Yaksha, what is the greatest wonder? People see everything dying around, changing around, and yet they expect that they should not change. Things around them should not change, even though they see change all around. He says it very good. In Yaksha Prashna, he says, what is the greatest wonder? He asks. Yama asks Yaksha, what is the greatest wonder? And what is the answer he gave for the greatest wonder? The greatest wonder is this. They see changes happening all the time. They see the flower blooming in the morning and dying in the evening. They see the trees shedding they see the trees shedding their leaves. They see them growing old. They see everybody around them dying. But still they don't understand. Nachiketas asked Yama, what is death? He said the greatest illusion of life is death. Because there's no such thing called death, yeah, Nachiketas. There's no such thing called death. There is one thing called change. That's why in this culture, when a person dies, we really don't worry about it. We really don't cry about it. We really don't make a big fuss about it. Why? Because we understand it is a, a change. Are you able to follow? Therefore, the first law, what is the first law? Birth, change, death. Law number one. Law number two, in the process of birth, death, change, somebody you will meet, and those who you meet, after a while you will separate. But sir, we are soulmates, sir. We are traveling together for janmas. We are traveling together, sir. Narayana, you. Uru janma is too difficult. Why will anybody want to travel for janmas together? Isn't it? So the second thing is what? All union ends in separation. Howsoever pleasant it is, howsoever unpleasant it is. Pleasant union, unpleasant union will end in separation. And what is the third law? That Sita and Ushna will give Sukha and Dukkha at various times. That which gives you Sukham at one point of time will give Dukkham at another point in time. Now, what is objectivity? A combined understanding of all these three. A clarity and the combined understanding of all these three gives you the clarity, and this clarity is called practicing objectivity. And what is the how do you know that you are practicing objectivity? Irrespective of your moods, irrespective of your state of mind, you are able to do your nitya naimittika karma. Then you are practicing objectivity. So what is the proof of practicing objectivity? Irrespective of your moods, irrespective of your mental state, you will be able to practice, you will be able to perform your nitya naimittika karma. It means you are detached from your desires. You are objective to your desires. This is called objectivity in life. This is known as objectivity in life. With this, we conclude and we continue next week.